What's going on, people? So I know there's like a handful of shoes here or whatever, right? But obviously, as the title and thumbnail shows, we're only really here right now to talk about this one right here, right? So to give you an idea as to why like they're all out here and all that stuff. So the parents and I, like, we're gonna be wearing some Novablast 3s this weekend, you know, walking around doing some stuff or whatever. So the reason I got them some pairs is to kind of help with like the whole review portion of it where I talk about them, because I figure if I have other opinions to go by, that'll kind of help me out when I'm like explaining things or whatever. So obviously, like, that's going to happen after this review, and this review is recorded, sure, yeah, whatever. But here's the thing, right? I put my reviews up in the order in which I buy them, except for that VaporMax 2023 over there. So this Novablast video will be after the Trail Novablast 3 video. So in that one, you'll probably see or hear some extra information, whatever, that you won't get in this one. So keep that in mind in case you're curious about like why these videos, if you've seen the other one before this, like why this one seems like it's a little lighter on the info than the other one. There's your why, right? So either way, I think that covers pretty much everything, right? So let's go ahead, knock out this review, and move on about our day, right? So this right here is the Asics Novablast 3 in Sheet Rock and Black. That's kind of a weird thing to me, right? Because here it is. I see some green when I look at this. I don't know about you guys out there, but it jumps out at me, right? I mean, there's two shades of it. Well, I guess that's kind of like a lime. Either way, I see some green when I look at these things here. And maybe some of you out there agree, and you would think, shouldn't green be in the title of the thing or whatever? I do think that, yeah, sure. But it's weird, though, that they kind of skip over that. It's not the first time. They even have green in the laces here. That's the third, shade number 3. Either way, so they did a similar thing. If you saw that Gel Light 3 video I did, I had like this pair, it was like white and some kind of blue, maybe like a royal blue perhaps? I don't know. White and some kind of blue. If you haven't seen the video, like there will probably be a clip that played or whatever. Either way, the side of the box of that said just like white and oyster gray, I think it was. So yeah, it's weird how they do that sometimes, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Asics is the only one that does this. Nike did it for like several months when they were doing all those 90s, like 2 or 3 years ago. Remember that? Yeah, so many 90s. A lot of them are really good though. I'll give them that. Either way. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be doing a review. I don't know why I sat this thing down. Let's get this thing back on track, huh? We're going to start this thing kicking off with the bottom. So down there, what you're looking at is pretty much like the standard type of outsole you see on a lot of these types of shoes or whatever. So nothing crazy, you know, it's not mind-blowing or anything, but it looks pretty cool given the colors anyways. Moving on to the midsole and all that stuff, right? So it's looking pretty thick, pretty chunky and all that good stuff, which can be a good thing, right? Can be a bad thing depending on how you like this or whatever. I say good because, you know, usually you associate this with comfort, right? We'll get back to that in a little bit though. Either way, get you some more pictures in there, right? Because I like my pictures. Maybe you like them too. And so those pictures just show you everything you've seen already, but, you know, it's just a still shot, I guess, right? So that way you can see it not so much movement, get an idea for what you think. But don't worry, if those pictures aren't enough for you, there's going to be plenty more over the next several minutes. So anyways, let's go ahead, get on into this and move on, right? So, toe box area, right? All this stuff down here is very much the same as what you might expect from this type of shoe. You got this sort of knitted material going on. It is a bit of a looser knit than you find on like the Ultra Boost 22s or even like the Kayano 29s, you know, if you want to compare it just brand to brand or whatever, or within the brand, I should say. But either way, it's kind of a looser sort of fit there, right? And just all throughout. Just keep that in mind in case you're curious about it. But either way, I think it's got a pretty decent look. Reminds me of some of their other releases that they've done, rounding shoe wise. And so as you move back over here, over to like the middle area, right? You got the same thing, got like these speed lines, you got like the Asics thing behind there. It's just like a really cool look in my opinion. And one of the things I said when I was doing the unboxing on the old, usually I say Instagram live, but on the YouTube live, because I'm taking a little Instagram break right now. This thing down here, yeah, super thin. See all that light shining through? That's a good thing. I do like that on shoes because it leads to breathability, right? And I like that, especially on something like this where you're going to be running around, potentially because it is a running shoe, or at least out doing some errands or whatever, especially as it gets warmer. Either way, so you got that. Moving along to the back end, right? So one thing that I'm used to is like seeing like these big plastic heel cup type things and stuff. So you saw that on like most of the Ultra Boost line, those recent Vapor Max 21s and 23s. But this time around, they kind of slimmed that whole thing down and just went with like a little bit on the top, a little bit on the bottom, you know. I like the look of it. It does still seem like there's a decent amount of structure in the back, right? You know, to be kind of solid and hopefully keep your heel from slipping around. More on that eventually. But either way, so that's kind of what things are looking like. And if you look real close in there, it does say Novablast 3 because Asics is really big on putting the name of their shoe on the shoe. So that way, if you're curious what somebody's wearing, you can just get super close and awkward-like and look at it, right? Or you can be, you know, normal and maybe just ask, I guess. Either way, moving along from there, let's, you know, from the back, that's what that whole thing looks like. You know, give you another shot of the heel and all that stuff because there's a lot going on back there. Also, one thing I didn't notice before, well, I did at some point, but I'm going to bring it up now. FF Blast Plus, right? I can't say what they've done with like the flight foam over the years or whatever, but I will say that in past offerings, it's been really good. So expect really good things if you like what they were doing before. So that covers a lot of the outside, but not all of it. So we're going to jump back over here to the front piece where the laces are, knock that out real quick. So these laces, like I kind of alluded to in the beginning, they have a bit of a black and green sort of thing going on. I believe the light show versions probably have like 3 M-bits in there, but these, they don't have that, right? But for that extra $10, that's mostly just what you get with like the light show versions. I think it's a $10 difference. Either way, it's standard flat laces, nothing too special about them. They feel decent, so there's that. And then moving behind there, looking at the tongue, it's going to be one of those tongues where it's got this kind of like the little slit down the top or whatever. It's supposed to keep it from like moving around on you when you're running and all that stuff. So I have never really had that problem. So maybe the shoes I have just like are built that way, or maybe it's just my feet. I don't know, but these are actually a running shoe, so they have that design there, and that's kind of why they have it. As far as the actual tongue piece goes, you can look down there. It's got a nice bit of cottony sort of fabric mesh thing going on down here, which I do like a lot. Got some extra holes in there. Again, the breathability is a big thing, right? So there is mostly that for the outside, right? And just slightly on the inside, although you can kind of see it from the outside, around the top of this sock liner, this part up here, it feels really smooth. I do like that a lot, and it has a cool look to it. So that's what's going on the top piece. It does go down deeper into there, not all the way through, because again, once you get past about here, it becomes just a standard mesh again. But down here in the back area around where your heel would be, it all kind of has that sort of thing going on in there. As far as the insole goes though, moving this tongue out of the way so you can see this, which is a thing that doesn't make sense because I'm just going to block me with pictures. Down in there, it says Novablast 3, right? Well, actually it doesn't. It just says Novablast. That's an Asics symbol. So kind of like this symbol right here, right? Because this is an Asics shirt. See how that works? Either way, so that's what's going on in there. Some black and green. That might be shade number 4 possibly on here, on this shoe that makes no reference to green. Either way, I believe that covers pretty much everything, right? So I'm going to move on to these personal thoughts, knock that out real quick, then tell you how these feel on the feet and what size you might want to consider buying, right? The answer may surprise you. It won't. It's true to size. Anyways, personal thoughts. So these right here, right? I bought these. Oh, I was about to do the sizing thing. Let's back that up a little bit. I said that true to size thing earlier. It threw off my whole thing. All right, now we're back. Let's get this. I had to get myself back in the mindset of the whole review thing. We are at the personal thoughts. So personal thoughts. These right here, right? I think these are pretty all right. I was a little on the fence. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I don't know, man. Like these Novablast, like they sound like they're a good thing according to what people are saying, but they look a little chunky in the back, right? I don't know if I'm okay with that. Then I was like, well, I have several pairs of Ultra Boost 21s and 2s and, you know, got a bunch of Hirachis. You know, they all have that similar thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go with it and try these out at some point. And now that point has arrived. And I got to say, looking at these up close and whatnot, the look still not completely on board because I like a more casual look sometimes. And this does not have that. But overall, it's not as jarring in person as it was on screen, so that's cool. So I'm okay with it, right? Is it going to be for everybody? Definitely not. But I would suggest trying to find a pair in person before you completely settle on how you feel about them, visually speaking. Don't try too hard. If you can't find them, you can't find them. Just move on about your day, right? It's not that serious. It's just shoes. But overall, considering that, the look, and just like the feel of them, construction-wise, all that good stuff, I'm thinking that this is a pretty good thing. Price point's even pretty decent. 140 isn't too bad, at least not in my opinion. And Asics is super into doing sales around holidays, or just because they want to. So you'll probably be able to find these for under that without having to try too hard, right? The only hard part would be finding maybe an Asics store around you, because around here, I think there's like one. And I just don't see their shoes in a lot of other stores. It's weird. I don't know why, because they're really nice, most of them. So either way, overall, good things are here. Hopefully, if you find a pair, you like them too. If you don't, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, what you like and what you don't like, it doesn't really affect me. Same with how what I like and don't like doesn't affect you. Now, anyways, that whole sizing thing that I kind of gave away earlier, right? You know, should have said spoiler alert or something before that, but most people kind of know how I feel about a lot of these running shoes anyway, so they probably saw it coming. Either way, let's close this up with the sizing and whatnot. I bought these true to size because I am a true to size guy for the most part on a lot of things, right? Now these do fit a lot like other running shoes that I bought, especially from Asics. The one thing that's a little bit different, like I said before, they do have a slightly looser fit, well, a looser knit, I should say, compared to the Kayanos, things like that, right? So you'll have a little bit more wiggle room in the toe box and all that good stuff. Dimensions-wise, they felt pretty on par with them. I can't speak too much for like the 29s, which I've heard some people say felt a little smaller than previous ones. But either way, as far as this thing right here goes, I went true to size on it. It's working out pretty well. The whole knit thing, yeah, like I said, I do like the snugger ones, right? And this doesn't have that, but it's still really nice. So I'm not going to take anything away from it. I'm just saying it's not offering what I would have preferred. But I still don't see me just being disappointed in these. I want to drive that home, which is why I kind of say it multiple times or whatever. And then past that, past all that feeling of knitted things, walking around in them, that is kind of one of the things that means like the most, right? And it feels really good. It does. It's a super squishy back piece, which you probably guessed, you know. Kind of reminds me of like the Ultra Boost 22s and the Hirachis, which is why I mentioned them earlier in the video and all that good stuff. So looking at all that stuff, and you kind of feel a nice bit of comfort even through the rest of the foot area, you know? So I do like that. So all in all, these things are checking all the boxes that I would like them to check. The only thing, again, being the 140 price point, which I think isn't bad for what you get. I would still say, like, as much as I'm speaking them up, I wouldn't pay full price if I don't have to, right? So consider that when you're looking at the pairs and stuff on the Asics page or wherever you look at shoes. But otherwise, I think that anybody who is considering picking up a pair based on whatever they think makes them want to pick up a pair, I think you're going to be good with them. But hey, I could be wrong. Probably aren't, though. Probably am not wrong. So there's that for you. But I think I've covered everything I needed to say. So I'm going to just move on because I got another review to do. I'm going to do these all in the same one because that's how I usually do my parents' pickups or whatever. So from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'll be back with some extra other content in mere moments. So be excited for that. Yay, content. Later, people.